The Argos hit their first speed bump of the season against Valdosta State over the weekend, despite a career game from Mike Beaudry. Head coach Pete Shinnick talks about how they can bounce back this week against Florida Tech. Plus, we hear from senior linebacker Sam Adams and review soccer's weekend at home. All this week on the Coach Shinnick Show on the UWF Sports Network. Welcome into the Coach Shinnick Show. Plenty to get to this week after a tough game against Valdosta State. Joined by head coach Pete Shinnick. I'm Tommy Thrall. Coach, great to have you with us. I know it was a tough game over the weekend. You learned a lot in a really good conference test.
Well, we did learn a lot, and unfortunately, we didn't learn enough quick enough, and that's, kind of what I told the team was, we played some good football. We did some really nice things, just didn't do enough of them, and that's what the Gulf South Conference is like. Every week we're going to be tested. We've got a small margin of error that we've got to fit in. Every time we go out there, if we're not in it in this conference, then we're not going to win games. And, we're looking to obviously, bounce back this week and see how our guys can respond to not playing what I think, is their best game, but also not playing a bad game either.
Well, let's take a look at the offense. It didn't look like the offense necessarily played all that poorly. It was one where you outgained them. They actually had 300 yards offense. You guys finished with 378, and you were able to get Schwartz going a couple of times.
No, Chris ran the ball, I thought, very well. I think 12 carries, 50 yards. We got him inside. We got him outside some. He did some nice things. You got to look at Anthony Johnson right here. Anthony continues to run and grow and learn through this. Mike throws for almost 300 yards. So a lot of pluses. Just not enough at the right time.
Yeah, it felt like, there were times where drives would get going, you'd have some big explosive plays, and then they would just kind of stall out a little bit. But you did have your playmakers making some plays in this game.
No, we really did. You saw Antoine Griffin do what he does very well. Caleb Robinson, we're watching him catch a ball right here. Big play to get us down in the red zone. Speaking of Antoine, here's Mike hitting him on a deep shot. Really good ball, really good run after the catch by Antoine. Again, a lot of pluses. We've just got to learn to, crank up the consistency of those and be able to take advantage every play of what's happening.
And then you found the end zone at the end for the first time. It seemed like this is kind of the way the night went. You get a deep ball down the sidelines. A great play, it looks like, by Karan Ashley. It doesn't go your way, and boy, that was just kind of a frustration.
No, it was, and still to this day, I don't think the guy saw it. His elbow hit first. That side judge, I think, is wrong because he couldn't see it. You see a play like this, we make a good catch. Again, we're getting close. And then we might get a little pressure, or we misjudge a ball. We thought the wide receiver was going deep. He converts it. We're close here. He bobbles it. He caught that ball last week. Again, going deep right here, misjudged the timing of the route. Just those are the miscues that we're going to have to clean up. Those are the things that Mike's got to be able to, see what's happening in the game and make those adjustments on the fly.
And where you talk about a small margin for error, that's kind of what you're referring to in a situation like that, isn't it?
It is. We have that play where Mike does a great job getting out of the, the pocket and, finding Karan, and he makes that catch. Now, all of a sudden, it's a first down. I think that'd be the 7th play of our drive. We got him a little tired. We're playing fast. Who knows what can take place on that? We just didn't have enough of that.
The good news was you got in the red zone. You put points on the board pretty much every time you got in the red zone in that game. Unfortunately, there were field goals instead of touchdowns.
No, exactly. And, I told the team after the game, and, Antoine mentioned it, in his press conference, 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 7 is 35. Obviously, any combination of 7 in there changes the complexion of the game.
Defense certainly kept you in it in a game like this against a very good Valdosta State team. Defense had some fun at times in this game, and you guys were able to get some big hits in there.
Well, I think to hold the Valdosta 300 yards and to hit the quarterback the way we did, they'd given up some sacks and they'd turned the ball over. Give Valdosta a ton of credit. They came in, I think, giving up I think 9 turnovers in the first 2 games. They obviously worked hard on that. They didn't give the ball up this week. I think we dropped an interception and had a couple where we were looking right at it. And then, from a penalty standpoint, they were averaging 12, 13 penalties a game. They had 3. But really love how our defense flew around. Really loved the hits that we got on the quarterback. We had some really nice goal line plays. Heck, they got the ball to 2, and then they obviously had to make it from the 4. So we were taking them in the right direction. And, that's something that, we didn't necessarily do a lot last year.
Right.
It's not, I don't ever remember having those type of stands last year. He breaks it here. We're watching this one. Breaks it here on the outside. That's really us being out of position, a guy bad with his eyes.
And again, that margin for error, it gets to a point where it's so small you come up with 3 big stops from the goal line, and then eventually they find a way to punch it in.
Yeah. No, and, we just saw him scramble. I mean, he had 3 huge third-down conversions scrambling. You take one of those away, they run 6 less plays. Again, a lot of things that we've got to do to be able to clean it up. I think we're close, but, you never know until you go out and play again. This week, we're working on closing that gap. Just saw the touchdown pass right there. Asante's a little out of position on the corner route there. Areas that really we control, we just got to get better at them.
The old saying, it seems like kind of a stereotype, but everybody says you learn more from a loss than a win. Coaches always, their rebuttal is, you'd like to learn just as much from those wins as a loss, wouldn't you?
Well, you do, and it's hard. It's hard for your guys to really understand the significance of a bad play when they win a game. And they don't string those thoughts together until you lose. And we've been talking about every guy doing his best, every guy, being in position where he needs to be. Don't worry about, if the play didn't result in a turnover or result in a penalty. Did you do your best, and did you do what we needed to do? That, now shows up in a loss. Because one more first down by the offense, who knows what the game looks like. One less third down by their team, what does the game look like?
What did you like the most out of your team on Saturday?
Well, I like how we compete, and I like how, we continue to do really good things. Our kickoff cover was fantastic. Austin Williams kicked the ball extremely well. We were able to run the ball in the first half, which is something we had not been able to do. Mike Beaudry throws for almost 300 yards. Again, mentioned it earlier, but we held them to, 300 yards. That's a really good offense. A lot of firepower on that Valdosta sideline that, our defensive staff did a great job scheming up and putting our guys in the right position.
Well, plenty more to talk about. Plus, you've got Florida Tech coming up this weekend, so that's going to be tough as well. When we come back, we're going to take a look at how soccer did on the pitch this weekend. In addition to that, we've got linebacker Sam Adams joining us. When we come back, this is the Coach Shinnick Show on the UWF Sports Network.
We are not here to drift. We were born to move, to change, to jump in, dive deep, make waves, break through. We were born to splash. The University of West Florida is America's best university for making a splash. The University of West Florida. How will you make a splash? We will never settle for the kiddie pool. We are destined for the vast ocean of opportunities that await us. We were born to make a splash. At the University of West Florida, you can make a discovery, make a difference, make a splash. So take a deep breath and dive in. The University of West Florida. How will you make a splash?
Welcome back to the Coach Shinnick Show. Now we turn our attention to the pitch, where both men's and women's soccer teams were at home with double headers this weekend against Mississippi College and Delta State. We start with the men, trying to turn around a 1-3 start. Sergio Odalara scored his first 2 goals of the season on Monday. Those moved him into a 3-way tie for the team lead. The Argos, though, split over the weekend, dropping Friday's match 2-0 to number 25 Mississippi College. They bounced back Sunday for a 5-1 win over Delta State. Head coach Bill Elliott was happy with the way his team responded on Sunday.
Our guys were determined today to come in and put our best foot forward, whatever that was. We felt like we could live with the result as long as we did that. It's hard. We've been in a tough spot. We lost in overtime at West Isle. We lost on the road to Huntsville. Could have gone either way. Big letdown against MC the other night. And then to dig yourself out of a hole like this takes a lot of character and guts. I'm really proud of the team for that.
Joe Bartlinski's women's soccer team entered the weekend unbeaten and ranked 5th. Mississippi College was up first, just recently knocked out of the top 25, but still 4-1-1. A late goal by the Choctaws handed the Argos their first loss of the season, 1-0. Like the men, the women bounced back with a good showing Sunday, pitching a 5-0 shutout over Delta State. Coach Bart was pleased with the 1-1 weekend.
We needed to get back on track, and as we go forward, it's going to be a difficult challenge the next few games, so hopefully today helped us prepare for that. These kind of games help you kind of get in sync and get a lot of players on the park, so it was good for us to have this game. It's behind us, and we've got a tough go over the next couple of weeks.
Turning back to American football now, we welcome in Argo leading tackler and senior linebacker Sam Adams. Sam, thanks so much for being on with us. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I want to thank you for having me here today.
Hey, it's our pleasure. Thanks for showing up and being here. It's got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. The defense is playing well, but I want to start with you. How did you end up at the University of West Florida? It was kind of an indirect path that took you to New Mexico, Kansas, and now here you are.
Well, what brought me here was because Coach Shinnick now gave me an opportunity to come here to play football, give me another down to play football. Because at first I went to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I played for this prep team. They ended up being fake. So I ended up getting another chance by going to Highland because my god brother, he used to play there. Now he's in the NFL playing for the Patriots. So Highland was like another last chance youth for me. It's like a last chance for me to get back on track where I wanted to be. So I went to Highland, then I ended up being here.
Highland University. Not really a lot around there.
Right.
It's kind of in eastern Kansas. The closest city, I guess, is Kansas City. There's another city kind of close to that, St. Joe. But really, when you look at it, not a lot going on there. So what was that experience like for you?
The experience for me was it was kind of a teaching moment for me because it taught me that I need to focus on football because nothing was out there for me. So I just had to stay on the right track and not get off task what I was there for.
You said your god brother plays in the NFL.
Yes,
how big of a role does he play in your life? I can imagine, both being football players, that there's got to be some parallels for you guys there.
He's a big inspiration to me. I look up to him. I talk to him every once in a while. He tells me how I can better my game and stuff. I send him my tape and stuff, and he just tells me to keep my head up and don't lose focus and stay patient.
Who is it? And do you guys play the same position?
Well, he played the star position when he first got to Auburn, but his name is Brandon King. So, we kind of play the same position. And then when I came here to West Florida, I didn't ask for no number or whatever, so when I got in the locker room, I had 36 hanging up on my locker, and he's 36 in the NFL, so it's kind of coincidence.
Wow, that's a pretty cool coincidence.
Yeah, so I just stuck with the number since then.
I can only imagine that adds a little more inspiration for you when you suit up every Saturday.
Yes, sir, it does.
That's cool. Well, let's talk about the experience here at UWF. You're in your second season. Now you're a senior, kind of one of the leaders of this defense. What's that like for you now being in that role?
It's a big role for me because I know a lot of guys will look up to me, and me and a couple more guys bringing the energy to the team, whatever. So I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing and lead my team in the right direction.
This has been a fun defense to be a part. It's a fun defense to watch. I can only imagine from the player's perspective, it's fun to be a part of. You guys are always flying around with the football. It's an active defense, and you guys get an opportunity to put some big hits on some guys. So for you, like what's it like from the player's perspective being a part of this unit?
Being a part of the unit, from my perspective, being around great guys that they help me look at the scheme of the offense and see what they have going on. They really helped me. And then you got Coach Doolin on the sideline giving us the heads up. So that's pretty much.
You guys have made a pretty seamless transition from one defensive coordinator to now Darian Doolin. Talk about what that's like.
It's been a big change. I would say he comes in, he knows what we need to do to win, and he's hard on us, but it's good because the outcome's gonna be good because he's always trying to put us in the right position to win.
I want to go back to your high school days at Calera High School in Alabama. You were a running back in addition to playing defense.
Yes,
now you've transitioned to defense at the college level. Was that a tough transition?
It wasn't a tough transition at all. I mean, I did like playing running back because when I got out in open space, all I seen was green, so all I knew was take it to the house. But now since I had moved on to college, I didn't want to be that main target of getting hit no more. I wanted to do all the hitting.
There's probably a little more satisfaction when you lay somebody out than being smoked, isn't there?
Yes, it is.
You're more than just a football player. You were telling me before we got started today that one of your hobbies is riding horses. How'd you get into that?
Well, growing up, my friend, dad always owned horses, so he put me on the saddle one time and took me around the yard. And I just fell in love with horses ever since then.
Is that something you want to get into once you're done with football and school?
Yes, sir, it is.
Awesome.
I can't do it right now because I don't want to get hurt. And Coach Shinnick might get mad at me.
Makes sense. They're pretty big, powerful animals.
Yes,
You
sir,
know,
right.
they can cause some problems in a hurry. Well, thanks so much, Sam, for being on with us. Great to have you on, and good luck this weekend down in Melbourne.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that's Sam Adams. When we come back, we bring back head coach Pete Shinnick, and we preview the game against Florida Tech this weekend. This is the Coach Shinnick Show on the UWF Sports Network.
We can stop to make sure someone is okay.
Get in the way and disrupt the situation.
Codify an authority.
Or walk them home safely.
We can change the language around rape.
We can make campuses safer for our teammates, our friends, and our classmates.
We cannot be bystanders.
Taking action isn't always easy, but it's on us
to intervene.
Because we can. Learn more and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
We are not here to drift. We were born to move, to change, to jump in, dive deep, make waves, break through. We were born to splash. The University of West Florida is America's best university for making a splash. The University of West Florida. How will you make a splash?
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
Welcome back to the Coach Shinnick Show. Marcus Clayton picked up Special Teams Player of the Week honors last week. This week, it's again the Argos bringing in the awards. Kicker Austin Williams was recognized Monday by the GSC after kicking a school record 4 field goals. It also matched the NCAA and conference high water marks for the season. Now on to Florida Tech, and we welcome back in Argonaut head coach Pete Shinnick. Well, let's talk about Florida Tech, and one of the things, I want to go back for just a minute to talk about the Valdosta State game again. I think one of the strengths of this team this year is the turnover margin. You guys went in +3. Obviously, Valdosta State had turned the ball over a lot, ended up -2 in that game, and there were 2 key turnovers. Would you say that's a problem or just bad luck in that game?
It's always a problem. So you never take that lightly, and you never consider any turnover a situation where that's just bad luck. I mean, I think we controlled both of those. On the one where we fumbled, ball shouldn't have been thrown as far out into the flat, and the receiver should have sat down. And then on the interception, Mike needs to do a better job reading that. With that said, we had an opportunity on defense, I think, to get a couple. We always talk about that, opportunity to change that. Hey, if the offense gives up 1, defense has got to get 3 or whatever it is. We go in, we want to protect the ball and we want to protect the field position. We lost both those battles really on the 2 offensive turnovers.
So this week against Florida Tech, I would assume that's something you certainly look at.
No, most definitely, have to. Every week that's got to be a topic of discussion for us.
Florida Tech's a tough team. What do you know about them?
Well, they're as good a team as there is in the conference. That's proof of how they've played early in the season, as well as what they did a year ago. They started about 3 years before us, 4 years before us, and were able to really put themselves in a great position to be a playoff team, and a great example of how building a program and what it looks like. Their quarterback's as good of a quarterback in the league right now. Their running back is as good a running back in the league right now. So they're talented. Got a couple of, they got a transfer wide receiver that has played very well for them. And so, we look at them with tremendous amount of respect.
And their offense seems to really be rolling after a couple of big wins against conference teams here lately.
Yeah, and not to be overshadowed is their defense,
right?
Because got a former Division I head coach as their defensive coordinator, Rick Minter. He knows how to call defense. He really does, and does a fantastic job of just changing up his looks, changing up his coverages. Really plays to people's weaknesses. We've got a test really on both sides of the ball in Florida Tech.
I remember last year you talked a lot about early in the season. Every week the test would get tougher. It seems to be kind of the same again this year. The difference is you're not surprising anybody. Obviously a big win against Florida Tech last year at home. They're not going to be caught off guard by anything this year.
They will not be caught off guard. We're going to get their best, and I'm not saying we didn't get their best last year and beat it, but we're going to get their best. They're going to be really focused. I think that loss, stung a little bit for them. They're going to be very well prepared. Their coaching staff does a great job. I mean, one of the more disciplined teams in the league. They play hard. They play extremely well. So, as we said, I mean, really, the first 5 weeks we didn't play Midwestern State. We just felt like it got better and better every week.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a tough team because they're so well balanced. So how do you slow them down, I guess, offensively? You
got to do something, and that's what Darian and our defensive staff are working on. Got to do something to take away the run and keep that. And then they're a really big play offense, and we saw that last year against us. We did a good job taking away some of their stuff and then hurting them, and then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, 80-yard touchdown, boom, 70-yard drive, boom. They kept hitting plays. We've got to do a great job of limiting that, obviously, and then keeping and containing their run game.
Your big play offense, we saw that certainly last week against Valdosta. We've seen it all season. The problem, it seemed like last week with the offense, was just finishing drives. This week, what do you do to combat that?
Well, we talked about that at Missouri S&T. Didn't feel like we finished some drives the way we needed to. We were handed great field position by our special teams and defense against Chowan. And then this week we got no field position. We really didn't do a great job on our kickoff return team. We've got to combat that by just being consistent on offense. Can't have any of those drops that affected some drives. Can't have the missed block here or there. We got to be dead on in what we're doing.
All right, we look forward to seeing that this weekend, and we'll talk more with head coach Pete Shinnick, and we take your questions when we come back. This is the Coach Shinnick Show on the UWF Sports Network.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
The world is our ocean, and we are here to make a splash, to dive deep, to create, to develop, to break through. At the University of West Florida, there's no limit to how you can make a splash. Don't just sit on shore, jump in. The University of West Florida. How will you make a splash?
We can stop to make sure someone is okay.
Get in the way and disrupt the situation.
Codify an authority.
Or walk them home safely.
We can change the language around rape.
We can make campuses safer for our teammates, our friends, and our classmates.
We cannot be bystanders.
Taking action isn't always easy, but it's on us
to intervene.
Because we can. Learn more and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back to the Coach Shinnick Show. Before we get to your questions, let's ask about this team real quick and the health of this squad. It seems like so far to this point, you've made it through fairly healthy, but there have been some tough injuries that you've had to battle through.
Well, yeah, I mean, Dre DeCombe is still working on an ankle, but I think we got a little bit of some highlights of what he could do. We've been able to get a couple other guys back. We're not 100%, but we're in the 90s, which is healthy. We played last week without Ronald Bell. We played a couple of weeks without Greg Jackson. Both those guys we anticipate being back this week. But we're not at 100%, but we're pretty close, and we've been able to still play a lot of guys.
Seems like depth has certainly improved this year.
It has, and I think that's just everybody getting older. Some of the guys we redshirted last year stepping up. Again, we're playing 3 freshmen this year to add to that depth. But yeah, I mean, we feel better about our depth. Still got some work to do, but that's all part of building a program, and that's all part of, being a young team.
And I would think growing guys are a little more durable as they get older and bigger.
They are. I mean, we're seeing less and less banged up. We're seeing less and less, guys that are feeling the fatigue. I mean, being able to handle it. The last year, the Valdosta game really took a lot out of us. This year, it still took something out of us, but it's not as lingering.
Right. Well, let's get to the viewer questions now, and this one comes from Steve in Virginia. He wants to know, what's the advantage of running more out of the shotgun than traditionally under center, especially as it pertains to the run game?
Well, the run game, it allows the quarterback to do some zone read, and it really gives you a double option. And with us, we run a lot of bubbles out to the field and to the boundary, so it really gives you a triple option look without running the triple option. So in the run game, that's helpful. In the passing game, it just allows the quarterback to be able to look over the defense from a different perspective. And really back in the day when they went to it, the Cowboys and the Jets way back in the early 70s or late 60s, early 70s, they did it to give the quarterback a little more view of the defense and what's taking place. And we stay in it because now it's just one less thing that you've got to spend time working on. If you're going to go under center, you got to work on that. If you're going to go in shotgun, you got to work on that. We spend all our time working on the shotgun.
I would think that's also helpful for a young quarterback like Mike is. Gives him a little bit more time to see everything and probably gives you a little better view of the field, I would guess.
It does, and I mean, it's simpler. You go under center and you start limiting the number of reads you can have, and you start limiting some of the things that you can do.
It seems like as he's gotten older this year and gotten more game experience, he's doing a little better job of going through his progressions.
Yeah, I think each week you see him grow, you see him mature, you see him develop. Again, he's got to grow and mature and develop quickly, and we needed him to, do some things in the middle of that game that I'm confident he's going to do next week. But that's part of the process of starting really a freshman quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, experience-wise, it certainly basically he is, sophomore by title. William Fisher here in Pensacola asks, are there any plans in running any jet sweeps or reverses instead of traditionally up the middle?
Well, no, we do. We've got all of that in the package. A lot of that is dictated by how a team plays you. And one of the things that people have started to do is, widen some of the guys to take away some of the jet sweep and fly sweep. We've been running fly sweep for a long time, but it's got to be against the right people and it's got to be against the right look. I think we started running, outside a little more, pitching the ball, giving our guys some room to run on the outside. We'll continue to do that. But the fly sweep, jet sweep, reverses, those are really, dependent on your opponent, and we just haven't seen the look that we need in order for those to be consistent in our offense.
Based on what you've seen out of Florida Tech so far on tape, what do they kind of allow for you guys offensively without giving away, obviously, too much?
Well, no, they're a stingy defense. I mean, I think they're giving up 110 yards passing. They haven't given up many points. They're just stingy. And, we saw the same thing last year, and we were able to erupt a little bit. But, I mean, this year, they are, like I said, they got a former D1 head coach as their coordinator. Rick does a great job of getting those guys in the right place.
This one comes from Tommy in the seat next to you. He wants to know if you had a great time on the show today.
Oh, what a wonderful time, huh? Holy cow. Get to spend time with you, answer questions?
It doesn't get any better than that, right?
No. How else would I rather spend my time?
All right. Thanks so much. That does it for this week. On the road at Florida Tech this weekend. It's a 6 o'clock kickoff. Pregame show at 5:30 on WRNE. That's Choice 106.9 FM, WRNE 980 AM. For head coach Pete Shinnick and our entire crew, I'm Tommy Thrall. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you again next week here on the UWF Sports Network.